In this video, we will analyze and try to experience the meaning of this phrase which comes up in Brahma Sutra. So, the English way of saying it is hence, thereafter, a deliberation on Brahman. So, it might look like this is a philosophical sentence or maybe even slightly esoteric or not relevant to you, but this single statement, it can truly be a turning point in your spiritual journey, that is if you are consciously going through one. So let's further look into what is the meaning of this phrase. The word hence, now this is extremely important. Hence, it is basically saying after going through the stories of your life, as I keep saying it, that is, you have an idea of what success is, which is mainly a construct in your mind, which is a result of the societal observations or the societal structuring of giving you an idea of what successful life is supposed to look like. Now, there are practical aspects in this. You have an idea where your future will include certain people, certain lifestyle, and in order to achieve that, you have to go through a process, which is fair enough, and you also seek pleasure in this process. You seek relationships, and the path also has some achievements involved in it. Achievements as decided by your own limitations, or no matter how high or low it is. So you define yourself achieving this state of being, this particular object, this particular lifestyle would be a validation for your existence in this lifetime. And also pursuing knowledge can also give you this sense of achievement. Now, some of us in this process, we see the beauty which lies in the creation. And also, if you're honest enough to acknowledge the limitations, you see that as well. If you do this, if you see these limitations and also appreciate the beauty in the story, there is something which is very mature inside of you, which seeks more than just the idea of what this life is supposed to look like. Now, this quiet realization dawns upon you. Just pursuing these things cannot fully answer the deepest longing which is always within you. So the only inquiry which you have to do, the only real inquiry which you have to do is, it is not about the world, and it is not about asking yourself what you can do to improve your personality. No, but the inquiry is just go to the root of it and ask who is experiencing everything. And no, the answer is limited if you look at it in the physical terms, and also if you look at the answer psychologically, it is still limiting. Now, this is where the inquiry is needed. The inquiry into deliberation on Brahman. Deliberation in the sense, understanding core meaning which can liberate you from the limited idea of any term, which in this case is more so with Brahman. Now, what is this Brahman? I have addressed this particular term in my previous videos if you have watched it. Otherwise, I don't mind going through the process of deconstructing the meaning again. So, the term Brahman is not a god who is sitting somewhere in the sky. That is the idea we have, because God is elsewhere and you are here. And if you are slightly bit open-minded, you might say God is everywhere, even though you don't see it. And Brahman is not a belief system, right? So you cannot imagine in the first place. The term Brahman itself, it is the limitation of the human mind that we have to make use, especially from communicating through sound forms, which is supposed to represent some experience in your field. So now this particular experience is not necessarily a physical aspect. It's not even emotional, it's not even a thought. It is an experience of a different kind altogether. Different kind in the sense it is the source of all the grosser and even subtler experiences, subtle in the sense the thoughts and emotions, and grosser is the physical experience. So now this Brahman is that ultimate reality which is the foundation of any form of existence you can be aware of. For example, the awareness of your body, your thoughts, emotions, as I mentioned, all of this, even the sense of being a person, it appears in something. That seeing of that space, so to speak, is what we are referring to as the Brahman. So when the statement says we must deliberate on Brahman, it is not asking you to collect more spiritual knowledge, because even knowledge is a thought. Rather, it is simply inviting you to honestly, and probably even for the first time, investigate your own nature and go to that space of pure observing even the highest knowledge you have about the nature of reality, through science, through whatever means you have understood it conceptually or even experientially, you have framed a sentence for it. Go beyond that. Stay in the space of pure observing. That is where this Brahman, so called labelless reality, is always present, the source of everything. And one more aspect with the hence, the sentences, hence, thereafter, a deliberation on Brahman. One more purpose we humans find is in eradicating the source of evil. Right? So, in this context, evil does not mean moral wrongdoing, though your morality is dependent on the conditioning of society, and some morals are commonsensical. If you see somebody in pain, there is an intuition, you just know that it is not the natural state, and you say that is the wrong thing. So now that is a category where your common sense itself, by simply being present and looking at things, you can categorize as something not correct for life or even the planet or whatever, depending on how keen your observation is. So beyond that, here in this context, evil is simply the ignorance which leads to any of these, resulting destruction or resulting unpleasantness in the society, the world, the people around you, whatever it is. Right? So, this ignorance is what we are referring to, and this ignorance is you missing the point, you missing the obvious inquiry into the nature of who you are. This gives us sufficient reason to go into the heart of knowing the nature of who you are. And here the label is Brahman. So the Upanishads, they essentially, these writings are meant for you to guide in seeing the nature of who you are. You can call it as self. Now the self is the same in all beings. This is not a philosophical frame. This is truly experiential realization. And now this discovery cannot be outsourced. Here outsourced is you cannot ask God to show this reality directly. Of course, even if you are asking for it, it's quite rare. You would never ask God to show you the nature of who you are, nature of the world. No. The world is behind God asking for your personal desires. It could be well intended, you can ask for good health, wealth. It's absolutely natural, especially when you are ignorant and separated from the true nature of your existence. It is quite natural for you to ask for all these limited source of happiness. Go for it. But if you are honest enough to know the truth, ask this cosmos, ask this infinity, ask this Brahman to awaken you to the nature of who you are, which is immortal. Right? So don't outsource this. This has to be seen directly. If you ask God will, the God of you, it's not a form. This God is just simply that infinite intelligence. If you put in your intentions right in the space, you will be guided through the story of your life, through suffering and happiness, the ups and downs. If you are observant enough, you see the nature of ups and downs is the hint. This variations of happiness and suffering should lead you, should awaken you if you're open enough. Right? So now let us look how a scientific mind would look into it. What could be a question which a scientific mind can ask? So now, if this Brahman is real, Why cannot it be measured? That is a really good question, especially for a scientific mind who always thinks in duality of subject and object as two different things. You will have to ask this question because a subject is always measuring an object. So, but look at this, Brahman is not something which is inside experience which can be measured. Rather, it is more like anything which is being measured. All the measurements that is happening is already in this Brahman. So the source cannot be measured. The potential is so high, there is no means for it to be measured. It is like trying to use a torch to illuminate the electricity that is powering the torch itself. Okay, and now another question, if a sincere spiritual seeker is asking, what would that be? So he or she might ask, if I pursue this inquiry, will I lose my individuality? Interestingly, the individuality still continues to function. There is a unique point of view for the consciousness or the universe to look at its own magnificent manifestation. The unique point of view still exists. There is an individual person, not exactly a person with ego, but a personality can still emerge from this individuality, a personality which is not powered by the ignorance of separation. So you don't have to worry about losing your individuality. You still can function as an individual, but at the time when you have to stop witnessing from the point of view or the instrument which you call your body, you are absolutely clear about the nature of who you are. And your journey will still continue, but now this time it will be a conscious journey where you have the choice of how you wish to participate in this game. So, enough words have been spoken now. Now, let us do a short experiential exploration. Now, you can do this wherever you are sitting right now. Dedicate some time, 5 minutes, 2 to 5 minutes. First, let's relax your body. You don't have to take any special posture. Just sit comfortably and relax your body. Take few deep breaths. Don't expect anything to happen. Just notice what is happening in your experience. This can be sounds around you. When I speak, it is my voice. When I'm not speaking, any other sound in your environment, let it come and go. Observe the sensations in your body. Don't label it spatially, it is at some point. Just observe the sensations. Thoughts are allowed to come. Let everything be exactly as it is. And now gently ask inside, what is aware of all these experiences? Now do not answer verbally. Just notice that awareness is already present. Does this awareness have a shape? Does it have an age? Is there a boundary to this awareness? Again, it's not a verbal answer, you just continue to observe. This is the space, the quality is almost space like in which everything appears. Do not try to change the field of experience. Now, you may notice that thoughts change, your sensations change, emotions, if you are aware of, they change. But the fact that you are aware, it does not change, it's always there. Just rest there for a few seconds as that simple awareness. Now, this resting is the beginning of deliberation on Brahman. Now, this ancient statement, even though it is not in Sanskrit, you don't have to sound smart. If you can digest the meaning in any language you're comfortable in, it's good enough. English being the more prominent one, I'm just using it. Don't invest your ego to be in a specific language. As long as you're translating it experientially, does not matter. Now, this statement is not asking us to become more spiritual. It is simply asking us to become honest explorers of our own existence. It is discovering the one to whom this universe is appearing right now. Take one last deep, slow breath, and you can open your eyes slowly whenever you are comfortable.